All right, guys, welcome to episode number 211 of the Digital Barbell Podcast. Episode 211, take 211 of this episode.
It's like we are good once we get rolling. It literally takes this is probably the 15th time we've started the podcast. I don't know why.
I don't think people realize those reels that people make where they're doing like a voiceover, something like those take like 10, 15 takes to get right because you have to like memorize the timing of the whole thing.
Voiceovers.
Like it'll be, you use somebody else's sound and you like, mouth to it or whatever.
Oh.
Like it's super hard to do. So yeah, we're not
That's
doing
not
that.
what we're doing. What are you even
It just made
talking
me
about?
think of that. Oh man, this episode.
We're not cutting here. Y'all are just dealing with it.
Just deal with
Let's
it.
just go. All right, episode 211.
Did I say what the episode's about? I know I did in some previous takes, but so we've done these kind of episodes in the past. We've called it You Go, I Go, or Open Gym.
Yeah.
Basically, we have 6 or 7 topics that we're just going to wax on. These are questions that have come in over the last couple of weeks, things that we've seen on the socials, on the interwebs, and we know you're wondering about these things.
Popular topics.
We're going to talk about them. But first, we want to brag on the client. We talked about her on Instagram yesterday or the day before. This is Kristen. She says, literally everything I do now is easier. My physical hobbies, dealing with luggage at the airport, playing with my kids.
You know, that she went on in that quote, say, like, even dealing with like the mental, having the mental capacity, I think something like that, to deal with the everyday stresses that you don't know are coming, which I think is great. Yeah. She
did training with you for a long time. She's training with Haley right now. She did nutrition coaching with me probably for about 6 months, a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, I don't know of another person who's made a bigger transformation in their mindset than Kristen as far as the all or nothing mentality goes. She's truly adopted the something is better than nothing thing, and it has just like turned around her results. And it's had a overflow effect onto her family too. So we're super proud of you, Kristen. If you're listening to this, keep up the good work and keep inspiring other people. All right, so we got some topics to get into.
We do. Let's just go. Let's go.
Let's do it before we mess up and start over again.
Okay, well, the first thing you wanted to talk about is I think we've talked about this before. My mom got us into eating cereal. She always brings cereal around, and then we're like, oh, cereal, let's have some cereal at night. And so now we're buying Honey Nut Cheerios. And now they're making them like little heart-shaped. I don't know. So anyway, go ahead and get the cereal box out. Jonathan was very agitated by this limited edition Honey Nut Cheerios heart-shaped box for some reason.
Yeah, so I think they've been bragging about being heart healthy for a long time.
Yeah.
So we got this box, and like you said, they even made the Cheerios into the shape of a heart now, and you can buy 2 boxes, and I'm holding this up for the YouTubers. You can put 2 boxes together to form the shape of a heart.
Well, it doesn't show. Is it on the back?
It's on the back.
Oh, okay,
you can buy 2 boxes, and you can hold them up, and it makes a heart. Like, how sweet is that? So, I bring this up because I want to talk about the importance of ignoring the nonsense out there, the slick marketing that companies use to try to trick you, and being an aware customer, taking an active role in learning about this stuff so that you know when you're getting duped or not. Okay, so let's talk about what this says. It says, Honey Nut Cheerios with happy heart shapes. Help take care of your heart together. Find 2 boxes to make a whole heart. See back panel for more details. Okay.
There's also the whole box to us.
Here goes the ingredients. Okay, enlarge to show texture. Okay, there's a heart on the front here. It says can help lower cholesterol as part of a healthy heart. As a heart healthy diet.
Okay.
The 2 most prominent words on the front are the words lower cholesterol. Okay, so let's move on to the fine print. Over here to the right of the box in much smaller font that's kind of blended in with everything else. It's kind of hard to read.
It's the same color as the box.
It says 3 grams of soluble fiber daily from whole grain oat foods like Honey Nut Cheerios cereal, and a diet low in saturated fat and cholesterol may reduce the risk of heart disease. Honey Nut Cheerios cereal provides 0.75 grams, talking about the fiber, per serving. So let's talk about a couple different things in here. Number one, let's start with what they ended with. That Honey Nut Cheerios has 0.75 grams of fiber per serving. And they're recommending that a diet with 3 grams of fiber a day, which first of all, 3 grams of soluble fiber a day, that is pathetic. But anyway, so you're getting less than 1/3 of the daily dose from the Cheerios. And then let's talk about the other things that they said are really part of a diet that can potentially help lower your cholesterol. A diet low in saturated fat and cholesterol, dietary cholesterol, are the other two things that you got to do. So it's not just like by adding Honey Nut Cheerios for that 0.7 grams of soluble fiber, you've not made an overall impact in your diet. You got to look at the entire diet to make sure it's low in saturated fat.
Didn't they say something about
low in cholesterol?
exercise?
Yeah, I'm going to get to that too.
Yeah.
So my point is, it's never one thing that you're going to add to your diet that's going to change your health outcomes. They're talking about revamping your entire diet to make it low in saturated fat, which we know is linked to increased risk for cardiovascular disease, for higher cholesterol, all that bad stuff. So let's move on to this even smaller print on the back of the box. It restates the thing about the soluble fiber. And then it says, heart disease is dependent on many factors, including diet, a family history of the disease, elevated blood LDL cholesterol levels, and physical activity. So if you are a sedentary person with an overall crappy diet, adding this food is going to have zero impact on your diet. Now, if you're swapping this out for, a even higher calorie food that has zero fiber in it, who knows? Fruit Loops might have the exact same nutritional value as Honey Nut Cheerios for all I know. Unless you're swapping it out for something that is before I was having Coke for breakfast, and now I'm having Honey Nut Cheerios. Before I was just mainlining sticks of butter for breakfast, and now I'm having Honey Nut Cheerios. Like, it's not about the one thing.
Right.
And this brings me to the point about, or back to the fact of just clever marketing in general. You look at labels of stuff, and they're telling you so many times, what is this food free from? It's fat-free, it's sugar-free, it's gluten-free, it's dairy-free. The nutritional value of a food cannot be described or determined by what the food is free from. Back when low fat really went super hard, this was big in my family, in my house, these Snackwell's cookies. They were the fat-free food. It's like the non-fat yogurt in the Seinfeld episode. It's fat-free. I can eat as much of it as I want. It's sugar-free. I can eat as much of it as I want. It's never the thing that the food is free from. You have to learn to read the nutrition facts on the back, ignore all the slick buzzwords, bold font, and the Comic Sans on the front. Learn to read a nutrition label, learn to read the ingredient list, and zoom out from that and look at your entire diet.
And just like we learned in that Seinfeld episode about the non-fat yogurt, it was the fat-free that lured them in, and then they were overindulging. Even if it was fat-free, they were overindulging in the calories by eating just like tons of it and tons of it and tons of it, because they're like, it's fat-free, I can have as much as I want, I can have it every day.
I see this with new clients when they start. They start by keeping a visual food journal for myself or Haley, whoever their coach is. And a lot of times people will go out of their way to, because we're conditioned in marketing to think like this. I had, a handful of gluten-free granola. I had, 2 dairy-free cookies. I had a whatever-free whatever. And it's usually a less nutritious food that comes with this tag-along whatever it's free from. Because in our mind, we're like, all right, it doesn't have that thing. I've heard that thing's probably not good. But that's the thing that's actually holding a lot of people back, is looking at what a food is free from. And you can still include these kinds of tricky foods in your diet, but it's all about the total quantity. It's how it fits into the overall picture of nutrition, not just the one single thing. So if I can leave you with one summation of all that, learn to read nutrition labels and not the boxes, and zoom out and look at your entire diet instead of one food.
Solid advice.
Whew, let me get a sip of this coffee.
Okay, I wanted to talk about just why what we do is so scalable, and why you, at whatever level you're at right now, can do exactly what we are all doing.
You're talking about exercise.
No questions asked.
Training.
Yes, training. Kind of a little background of how our business works is like, each week I write like the base core of the programming.
The framework,
the digital barbell framework. And the coaches then apply it to all the clients and customize it for their equipment, their needs, their time frames, and abilities, and all that stuff, their goals. But within this framework, I write like a barbell version, I write a dumbbell version, and I write like a scaled version.
You're looking for the word masters?
Masters or scaled version.
Beginners.
Yeah.
Either masters or beginners version of it.
And sometimes we kind of apply all three to, anyway, I'm getting way into the weeds here. Not my point. I'm losing my train of thought here.
You're talking about how there's the framework, but it's scalable to different levels.
To anybody. And so So I was going to give an example of a couple of workouts that we've done this week, and just how anybody can do this right now.
Mm-hmm.
And this is, I'm talking specifically. I mean, it applies to everything that we do. It applies to the weightlifting. It applies to the bodybuilding. It applies to the conditioning. I'm going to give you guys some examples of the conditioning, because I think that that's the piece that scares a lot of people, and they're like, well, I can't do that. I can't do CrossFit.
Mm-hmm.
You absolutely can. This one is an example of actually a CrossFit Open workout. The Open is a week away, right around the corner. That's a worldwide competition where you do 3 workouts, 1 a week, and you get scored with everybody in the world who has signed up. And this is kind of this leads into the CrossFit Games, but I mean, you and I do it, and it's just a lot of fun. We used to do it in my gym. You just kind of compete with your friends, and you compete with everybody in the world that's doing it. But anyway, this was an old Open workout from 2013 that we did this week. So it was a 10-minute AMRAP, as many rounds as possible. And the prescribed workout was 5 shoulder to overhead. So that can be a press, a push jerk, 10 deadlifts, 15 box jumps. Prescribed with a barbell, men 115, women 75. So if you're using a barbell, from there, you scale the weight as needed. And we talked about this, I think, in last week's, maybe not in last week's podcast, at some point where, in a workout like this where you're looking at it, you're like, well, I'm going to do the same weight for a shoulder to overhead as I'm going to do for the deadlifts. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
If you're just lifting weights on your own, know that you're not going to do that. But for a workout like this, it's designed for you to move as quickly as possible through that 10 minutes. So you're going to base the weight of what you can do from shoulder to overhead, and those deadlifts are just going to be a super light little thing that's kind of in your way during that workout. If you're not working with dumbbells yet, with barbells yet, you're going to scale that to use dumbbells. So I prescribed men using a 40 or less, women using a 25 or less. And pick a weight again that you can use that shoulder to overhead, 5 reps in a row with great form for all 10 minutes under fatigue.
Use the dumbbells for your deadlifts too.
If you're not quite ready for box jumps, you're going to step up onto that box 15 times. From there, I scaled it for some of our older clients to where it was 5 dumbbell push presses, 10 dumbbell RDLs, and then 15 step ups. Mm-hmm. So that just shows you can be, in your 20s, we're using the prescribed weight.
Taking your shirt off as soon as the clock starts.
Or you can be in your 60s or 70s and you're all doing the same workout.
Yep. You're
starting and finishing at the same time. You're doing basically the same movements. This was another really cool example that we had this week where the prescribed workout, let me find it, was you did 3 rounds of some suitcase step-ups, some kettlebell swings, some double unders. You did a plank, and then you went through the 3 rounds backwards with the double swings and suitcase step-ups. I really liked this workout. A way that I scaled it was still did that suitcase step-ups. I mean, you can scale that step-up to where you have a very low box, even just like a step in your house, and you're stepping up holding something in one arm. I reduced the number of swings because after you got through this workout, you were close to 100 swings. So I reduced the number from 15 to 12 on the swings. Mm-hmm. And instead of the double unders, I did jumping jacks, only 15 jumping jacks. So by the end of that, you accumulated about 75 jumping jacks, about 60 swings, and about 70 swings and about 60 step ups. Yeah. That was a lot of good work. And I changed that plank to 50 to 75 crunches for the masters athletes.
And you could take it even further if you wanted.
Yeah.
I mean, any workout can be scaled up or scaled down based on your level.
Right.
You'll still get the desired stimulus out of it. So if you, let's say you don't have a suitcase, what do you do for the suitcase step up?
Suitcase step up means that you're holding an object in one hand. Think about holding a suitcase. What does it look like? You usually just carry it in one hand, and you're trying to brace yourself from that weight bending you over toward the weight you're holding. So it's a great exercise for your obliques.
All the millennials listening to this are like, why would you carry a suitcase? They all have wheels, on the bottom.
That's funny. Yeah.
I guess you could also scale this down to a like a bag you carry your toiletries in. If you don't want to
You're not actually carrying a suitcase, so you were lifting a dumbbell or a kettlebell over the box. Everybody else knows what I'm talking about.
Okay, I think that's a great example of how any workout can be scaled to anybody's level.
Yeah.
And your level can be determined by your current fitness level, your age, or coming back from an injury.
Yeah.
Like we work with people of all different levels, and we can take that framework that you write and apply it to everybody. So everybody gets fitter in their own way.
Yeah.
And also one thing to remember is, let's say you repeated this, you did the scaled version of this workout, and then you repeated it a couple years later. I bet you aren't still doing the scaled version of it. You're certainly doing a more difficult version than you did because you're getting fitter over time.
That is one of the cool things about like something like the CrossFit Open is they often repeat those workouts, and these are workouts that you've done over the years, and you can come back and you'd be like, wow, I've gotten faster at that, or I've gotten stronger, I've been able to like use the RX barbell weight now, just, I've got pull-ups now, or it's really cool to see. All right, so another thing we were going to talk about is how do we eat enough protein per day?
Yeah, it's probably one of the top complaints you get with people when you start learning like how much protein is really advantageous for the body composition goals you have.
Yeah.
They become aware of how little they're eating now, and they're like, shoot, I can't eat that much protein. And this could even be a number like 100 for ladies, 150 for men, 200 for men. It might seem a little bit overwhelming. So we've made different infographics over the years of how to do this, and of course we guide our custom clients on how to do it, but we each kind of went back and looked through some old food logs.
Actually, I wrote down what I'm eating today.
Okay.
So this is.
Why don't you go first then?
This is today. So in the morning we have 3 eggs. That's 18 grams. I usually have an after breakfast, but sometimes between lunch and breakfast, a snack with one of those like pre-made yogurts, like not pre-made, but you know what I mean, like
a little yogurt cup.
A yogurt cup and a banana. 12 grams in that yogurt cup. Also have a builder bar before we work out. 20 grams in those builder bars. And then for lunch, I usually have 3 to 3.5 ounces of chicken and a glass of milk. So that's, if I go with the 3, that's 26 grams plus 13 just in my lunch. A midday snack, I'll have a cottage cheese and berries. That's a 13-gram snack. Again, for dinner, the meat 3 to 3.5, so another 26 to 30, and then the milk with my Cheerios is 13 grams. That's 145 grams of protein. That isn't even. That's just the heavy hitter protein. There's definitely, if I put this in a food log with everything else I was eating, there would definitely be other like trace amounts of protein in there. But
there's protein in your oats, protein in your bell peppers,
but this
protein
is
in your
just
salad dressing. Yeah, so you're probably pushing like 160 or more.
I might be. I might need to dial it back.
Okay, so that's an example of a female. How tall are you?
5'7".
How much do you weigh?
135.
All right, so there's Blakley's stats and how she eats that much protein. All right, so similar for me, I will have 3 eggs for breakfast. I'll basically make them into like breakfast tacos. Sometimes I'll add an extra white in if I'm trying to get a little bit more protein, and then a glass of fat-free milk with breakfast. That's 43 grams of protein right there by the time you add in all the trace amounts from the tortillas and stuff. Lunch would be a salad with the main source being about 5 ounces of cooked chicken breast instead of raw chicken breast. And then all the other stuff adds up to a little bit more protein. My lunch comes in around 45 grams of protein, with most of it coming from that 5 ounces of cooked chicken breast. Dinner is either going to be like a bowl or another salad or something, chili or something like that. But for this example, I put 6 ounces of butterball turkey breast. We made one of those little turkey breasts in the air fryer. I had 6 ounces of that on there. Looks like I made a salad for dinner this night. But anyway, by the time I added all that up with the 6 ounces of turkey, it came to almost 50 grams of protein in dinner. Snacks throughout the day, I had some non-fat Siggy's vanilla yogurt. I had another glass of fat-free milk. I had a serving of low-fat cottage cheese, and I had a Yasso bar for dessert after dinner. And all those snacks and dessert rang me up for another 43, almost 44 grams of protein. That totaled up to about 185 grams of protein that day. Okay. And at the time I was doing this, I weighed about 165 pounds. So yeah, there's an example. It's really going to be that you ate a little bit, you had a legitimate amount in each meal, and then you picked up some through the trace amounts of everything else, and then you had 1 or 2 high protein snacks per day. That's probably the way that you're going to be the most consistent in hitting your protein goals.
Yeah, and we've talked to you before about bulking up. Like if you're having 1 egg for breakfast, push a little bit more protein in that. If you're, think about how much protein is in your lunch. Add a little bit more if you're in control of it and making it yourself.
Yeah.
And
well, I forgot. I was going to say something else. You made me think of it when you were talking about adding the egg whites. But yeah, I mean, the point is you're going to have to be deliberate about doing this. And if you're tracking your calories, like just mess around when you're not doing anything, watching Seinfeld on TV, and like play with a sample day and be like, oh shoot, I had no idea I was going to have to eat, 4 ounces of meat at lunch instead of the normal 2 that I take to get there. At least it gives you some idea of how you need to modify your diet going forward.
Yeah, and I even but in the past, and this is why we talk all the time about how logging is just this great educational tool, because if you do it for a little bit of time, you have the skills to eat, without logging. But in the past, when I was logging, I would, notice the difference between like ground turkey and chicken. Like if I'm having ground turkey, I would need to push it toward like 4 or so on my plate. If I'm having chicken, for some reason, chicken contains more protein.
Chicken is the goat of protein.
I'm closer to like that 3 mark.
And just for a little general guideline, actually we have a killer blog on our website about how to exactly set your calories and macros for fat loss or muscle gain, whatever you're trying to do. So go check that out. But just as a general rule, try to shoot for between 0.7, 0.8-ish and 1.2 grams of protein per pound that you weigh per day, skewing towards the higher end when you're in the fat loss phase.
I'm bulking right now, I guess. Didn't even know it.
Making gains. All right, so there's how to eat more protein.
All right. This question did come in, and it was about foam rolling. Is foam rolling beneficial?
That was the gist of the question. I'm guilty of this, spending 15 minutes rolling around on a foam roller, especially like when you run the gym, and it was kind of like the social time. Everybody gets there a little bit early. You grab a foam roller and you start
roll around,
flopping around on there and talk about your day. But the more research they've done on foam rolling, it falls in line with massage. That's essentially what you're doing, is some sort of self-massage to yourself. So if you have time for a massage, it can be beneficial because it's relaxing. Sometimes working on a sore muscle can make it feel better, but there's no lasting change being done by foam rolling. And if it's cutting into the amount of time that you have available to train, then you're actually working against yourself. That time would be much better spent getting in more exercise volume, which is going to give you better results. So use it as a tool similar to massage. It will be our general rule. That goes for like Theragun usage, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and somebody asked the question a few weeks ago about cooling down, and that was kind of my reason for my answer. Was like, I'm not going to write a lengthy cool down for you guys. I'm going to give you just enough warm up to get you ready to go. But I'd rather you spend your valuable time that you are in the gym doing the work, not cooling down or foam rolling.
I was always really guilty of foam rolling my IT bands, because I was always just like obsessed with how sore they always were. Like, maybe if I just like grit my teeth through this IT band rolling, they'll stop being so sore. But no, it's like, it turns out that your IT band is strong enough to like hold up a car, just like a car dangling from a crane. Like there's no actual physical change you're going to make to your IT band by putting your own body weight, not even all of your body weight, on it and going up and down it.
But if you have the time and you get to the gym early, or you want to go out into your gym space 5 or 10 minutes early, and you feel better and you feel looser after you foam rolled, go for it. I mean, there's nothing like you're not going to do any harm to yourself.
That's right. And maybe even the placebo effect of you doing it will help your performance too. But the research doesn't support physical change. If
we've been like, a lot of times we work from our desk, and if we're standing there or sitting there for a couple hours, I feel tight, and I'm like, I need to like do something before we just start working out. I gotta like walk on the treadmill for 10 minutes, or I might just sit there and like do a couple stretches or something like that. I'm like, if I just started squatting right now, I might hurt myself.
You know why?
Why?
Motion is lotion.
Yeah. Good one.
Drop the mic.
Okay. All right. This question has come up a lot. We're always talking about being prepared, bringing your snacks. So we want to talk about snacks that are not bars.
Yeah.
You know, because bars are those easy things to grab, and you know, a lot of times they can be more like eating a candy bar. It just depends on the one you get, but
bars are especially tricky for anybody who is trying to lose weight because they're one of those things that are super high in calories for a small amount of food. And they're also pretty tricky with the nutrition labels. A lot of time, more and more companies are getting wise to pumping a bunch of fiber and sugar alcohol in them so they can subtract those calories out.
And a lot of times they don't fall into your high protein snack rule.
Yeah, even the Builder bar that you eat as a snack most days, that has 20 grams of protein but 290 calories. So the rule we use for whether a snack is a high protein snack or not is take the grams of protein in it, multiply it times 10, and that should be
200.
more than the total calories in it. So the Builder bar fails miserably.
But I mean, it does have a lot of protein.
20 is still a lot, but you're paying a hefty fee for it with those 290 calories. Like standard Cliff bars are even worse. They have 10 grams of protein for like 250 or 260 calories. I bought a plant-based RX bar this week to try it. It had only 10 grams of protein for 230 calories and tasted terrible too.
Really?
So I forgot to tell you about that. It was super dry and crumbly, and it was made with pea protein since it was plant-based. Terrible texture, and it really dried my mouth out. But
interesting.
So anyway, if you're trying to lose fat, try to steer clear of bars as much as you can. Use other protein supplements like shakes.
And the sugar alcohol that you mentioned, that's a big thing right now. It can do a number on your stomach. So
it'll do a number on your stomach and your relationships.
All your relationships.
Because there's other people in your house that have to deal with the consequences of all that sugar alcohol.
All right, we're getting off track. All right.
What was the question?
I was going to give a couple of examples of snacks that aren't bars, and I was going to try to keep it to like things that you can bring, like if you're going to an office or something, things that you can have with you that's easy to bring. Earlier I talked about my yogurt. They now have this Faye yogurt that has a yogurt on one side and like a little jelly on the other. It's delicious. I think it's like 13 grams of protein. That's a great, if you have a cooler or a fridge at work, great snack to bring.
And you can bring your own cooler. Get you a little small insulated bag with one single ice pack.
Same thing. They now make a cottage cheese like that. It's a cottage cheese single serving, and then on the top it has a little jelly packet, which I used to think Jonathan was crazy for putting jelly in cottage cheese. I never even thought of this, but obviously it's a thing because they're putting jelly in all these.
And they're charging double for it.
They're charging double. He won't let me buy them because it's too expensive.
It's a ripoff.
If I'm gonna have jelly in my cottage cheese, I gotta make it myself.
We gotta retire someday. We can't be blowing it all on jelly.
If you need an easy snack to have with you at the office, they make those now. Bringing an apple and maybe having a jar of peanut butter there handy. Don't go crazy on the peanut butter, but yes.
Tread lightly with
an apple and peanut butter, I think, is a great snack. That's a classic. That's back in the day when your mom made you lunch for school, apple slices with some peanut butter. String cheese and applesauce. That's a snack I love.
Yeah, you do.
It's
like your little Lunchable. Your snack Lunchable.
Those string cheeses are single serve, applesauces are single serve.
Those might
easy to pack with you.
Skim string cheese or 2% might even fit the high protein snack rule.
But I don't remember how many calories are in one
They're
of
like
those.
90 maybe.
Okay. And another one that I always have in my purse is a box of raisins. Those boxes of raisins that are like not the minis, but the one size up from the minis.
Yeah.
That is a great snack.
Yeah. It's not a lot of food for 90 calories. I think that's what they have, but they sure are convenient. They last a long time.
And it's just like if you're a little bit hungry and you're just like, I want a little something.
Yeah, especially if you're somebody who has a sweet tooth, because they are pretty sweet too. Okay, I thought of a couple while you were talking.
Okay.
The Quest potato chips, those have about 20 grams of protein per bag. They fit the high protein snack rule.
Does it have those warning on the back?
No, those are going to be Alestro chips now. None of that. Beef jerky.
Yeah,
that's not a bar.
Beef jerky.
Just be careful of the ones that have added sugar. There's some edamame snacks that are pretty high in protein because soy is a pretty good source of protein.
Do you need a microwave for those?
No, they come in a bag actually.
Are they dried?
I think they're dried and they're flavored too. Costco has them.
So it's kind of like a chip.
It's like having a chip made of a soybean. Protein shakes are not bars. Look for the Fairlife brand.
Oh, pre-made. Yeah, the pre-made.
Yep.
Pre-made
so either
shakes.
Pre-made or ones that you make yourself. There's something else I thought of, but now I've forgotten what it is. Well, why don't we put the list of these in the show notes for everybody?
It's a great list.
So you don't have to eat snack bars, guys.
Yeah. All right.
What's next?
Right now,
Can we talk about Cheerios some more?
you are establishing your summer physique. It's February.
Yeah.
It might not feel like it, but right now you're establishing your summer physique.
Yeah, it sneaks up on people.
It does.
I mean, when is Memorial Day? Is
May
that it?
31st, or I mean, like
Sometime in May.
the end of May.
Yeah, so we're in February right now. So you got February, March, April, 3 solid months before May.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on where you're at with your, your physique, your body composition or whatever, it may take you 3 solid months to make the progress that you want, or even longer. So don't be thinking like you're going to coast for February and March, kick it off in April or May and be ready for summer.
Mm-hmm.
You're just not going to be, and you're going to be like, I waited too long. So the choices that you're making right now are setting up what you're going to be like in the summer. And
This is where the area of grievances comes in.
I'm talking about this like from a totally vain perspective, because let's be honest, like people want to look better with their clothes off in the summer, or less clothes on. Maybe not all their clothes off, but depending on.
It's sweatshirt weather right now. I mean, we're in Texas and it's sweatshirt weather.
That's the funny thing is like you got to put in the work now in your cold
when you're
garage
cold,
in your sweatshirt for the results that you want to see. Like the times that I've had the best physique in the summer, I've started right around this time of year and given myself plenty of time, because you might not want to make one long run up to your ultimate goal. You might want to make a push for like 8 weeks, chill for 4 weeks, then make one final push before summer. So y'all better check yourself if you feel like you're just going to coast through this time of year when it's cold. Take advantage of those heavy clothes that you got on, put in some hard work up a good sweat, build your strength, get your nutrition dialed in, and you'll be able to reap the rewards in summer when everybody else is scratching their head trying to start with knowing that like the holiday season's coming right after the summer. So as Blakley always says, check yourself before you wreck yourself.
And at that, we're done.
All right, guys, this was kind of a silly episode, but it was powered by coffee, and we hope that you guys enjoyed it. We'll catch you next time.